Max Verstappen had a weekend to forget in Bahrain, where despite putting everything into securing a P6 finish, his performance left much to be desired. Rumors are beginning to swirl that the four-time world champion won't stand for this kind of performance much longer, especially with so much at stake. The tension is mounting, as Verstappen's competitive nature is undeniable, and the pressure is building. Behind the scenes, there were intense discussions about his future. His manager's heated exchange with Red Bull's head, Helmut Marko, in the garage was a clear sign that things are reaching a breaking point. Verstappen, who's known for his fierce desire to win, isn't happy with the current state of the team. The situation at Red Bull is now at a critical juncture, with Verstappen struggling to find the right pace on any of the tires mounted on his car. This frustration is starting to boil over, and his manager's outburst is a reflection of that. This part covers the introduction and sets up the drama around Verstappen's performance. Let me know if you're happy with this, and I'll continue with the next part. Max Verstappen's displeasure with Red Bull's direction is evident. The four-times world champion isn't just frustrated with his on-track performance, but also with the team's development strategy. His manager's direct confrontation with Marko highlighted just how serious the situation has become. The tension was palpable, as Raymond Vermeulen, Verstappen's manager, let Marko know exactly how he felt in no uncertain terms. After the outburst, Vermeulen stormed out of the garage, leaving no room for doubt about the frustration brewing within the team. Before the confrontation, Red Bull had already called for an emergency meeting to address Verstappen's concerns. The focus was on the troubling pace of development and the lack of progress. Verstappen himself has been vocal about his doubts. Speaking to the media, he made it clear that discussions with the team were not going to be about empty words. If the team doesn't start showing tangible results soon, Verstappen hinted that things could take a turn for the worse. Red Bull's current situation is becoming more difficult to ignore. The team is facing serious questions about its development, strategy, and Verstappen's blunt comments only add fuel to the fire. When asked about the future upgrades for the RB21, Verstappen didn't mince words. He made it clear that he's tired of hearing promises and wants to see real improvements on the track. For him, it's no longer about words. He needs action, and he needs it fast. Verstappen's response to the team's current performance is not surprising. The gap to McLaren in Bahrain was stark, and Verstappen has made it clear that he doesn't see himself competing for the 2025 title unless significant changes are made. Reflecting on last year's success, where he dominated the Bahrain GP with a commanding 22-second advantage, this year's performance was a far cry from that. Verstappen finished 34 seconds behind McLaren's Oscar Piastri, and he's not happy with the lack of progress. The issues Red Bull is facing are not just related to the car's pace, but also to fundamental problems within the team. Verstappen's concerns about the car's development are shared by others, including Eric Van Haren, who pointed out that Red Bull should be grateful the situation hasn't escalated further. Van Haren emphasized that Verstappen's restraint after such a frustrating weekend was remarkable. Had he spoken his mind fully, the criticism would have been deafening. At the core of the problem is the team's development path, which has veered off course faster than expected. For example, last year Verstappen cruised to a 22-second victory in Bahrain, but this year he found himself almost a minute behind the leaders. Despite minimal changes in the regulations, Red Bull's performance has dropped significantly. And that's not just about Verstappen. Other teams, like Aston Martin, have been able to capitalize on Red Bull's struggles, making it clear that the Austrian team has a lot of work ahead of them. As the pressure mounts, Verstappen's frustration with Red Bull's lack of progress is clear. He's not interested in hearing more about upgrades that should be coming. He wants to see results. His blunt response to questions about the RB21's future upgrades was telling. Verstappen no longer has patience for empty promises. He's made it clear that he's waiting for action, not words. It's a sentiment shared by Helmut Marko, who has been a key figure in supporting Verstappen. through Red Bull's internal struggles. Red Bull's challenges aren't just about the car's development, they also extend to the team's pit stop performance. Marco, who's been vocal about the team's need for improvement, stressed that pit stops are crucial. If the car isn't the fastest, the pit stops need to be perfect. If they're not, that's simply not acceptable. The pressure is on for Red Bull to fix these issues quickly, or else they risk losing their star driver. The situation at Red Bull isn't looking any better, and the team's development tools are failing to deliver. Christian Horner, Red Bull's team principal, admitted that the data from their wind tunnel isn't matching up with what they're seeing on track. This discrepancy is raising alarm bells for the future of the car's development. Verstappen has already voiced his concerns about the team's competitiveness against McLaren, and his comments suggest that he doesn't see himself as a contender for the 2025 title unless there's a major turnaround. The gap to McLaren is real, and Verstappen predicted it early on. He had already warned the team during the winter tests that McLaren was half a second ahead, and now that gap is proving true. Despite the occasional success, like the win in Suzuka, Verstappen knows that it's not enough to keep up with McLaren consistently. He's frustrated, and his comments reflect a driver who's not just looking for a win, but is focused on his long-term future with Red Bull. All signs point to a difficult road ahead for Red Bull, and Verstappen's future is now in question. The team's development issues, coupled with the departure of key personnel, suggest that the next phase of the season might be even more challenging. Verstappen has put in the work, especially during the 2024 and 2021 seasons, but with Red Bull facing such significant problems, his loyalty will soon be tested. Rumors have begun circulating about possible moves to other teams, with Mercedes and Aston Martin seen as the top contenders to sign Verstappen. Both teams have untapped potential, and with the 2026 regulations on the horizon, this could be a pivotal moment for Verstappen to make a move. While Toto Wolff has hinted that Mercedes may have moved on from Verstappen, many believe that if the opportunity arises, they won't hesitate to sign the four-time world champion. As for Aston Martin, they share many of Red Bull's ingredients, including a partnership with Honda, which Verstappen has expressed interest in working with again. The future is uncertain, but one thing is clear. Verstappen's next move could shape the future of Formula One for years to come. Will he stay and try to turn Red Bull around, or will he seize a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity with another team? Only time will tell.